Hello, everybody, and this episode is brought to you proudly by EQ Theta, who came up with the idea. His link's in the description if you want to check out his profile and say hello to him on the forums. But anyway, today's subject is going to be on those possibilities, the possibilities of how those alternative existences came about from a cutie remark. I'll be warned, this may get a bit deep and a bit crazy and a bit headcanon-y from my own perspective, so you've been warned. Let's see how it goes from here. Now, I'm going to be tackling these situations chronological order, so how they came about during series filmings from series 1 through to series 5, not how they were shown in the episode itself, because it wasn't in chronological order. So the first episode we'll be looking at, the first event we'll be looking at will be Nightmare Moon taking over and winning. Now, her alternative existence, the one that we were teleported to, is the easiest to believe. Without the elements of harmony meeting up, there was no one to stop her from imprisoning Celestia and taking over the Equestria and banishing everyone to eternal night. I mean, simple as that. It's one of the easiest to believe and one of the hardest not to disprove, essentially, from what the direct cause of stopping Rainbow Dash from performing her Sonic Rainbow. Which brings me to our next event. Every other event after this one requires someone or some group of ponies or Celestia somehow to wield the elements of harmony. Otherwise, we've never gotten past the first segment, which is Luna taking over. We've never gotten past any of this. So somewhere another group of ponies has taken up the reins as the elements of harmony. Someone has done it, apart from our main six. Our main six exist in these alternative realities in completely different circumstances, but they are not the elements. Other ponies are the elements, and they are the ones who've done heavy lifting in order to get us to the next set of disasters where they failed. You'll see what I'm talking about as I continue. The next in chronological order, I believe, is Discord, actually, because is the main antagonist for the beginning of Season 2, where he tries to ruin the elements of harmony, and he succeeds in this alternative reality. Now, this is only a tiny section of footage. It's like 4 or 5 seconds? It's minuscule. But this is another reality where the elements failed, and Discord now does whatever Discord does. I mean, how the hell do you answer that? It's like trying to question what Shirogarath does in his spare time. Anyway, next, chronologically ordered, is the Canterlot Wedding, so the Changeling Invasion, and the rule of Queen Chrysalis. Now again, our fictitious elements in this alternative reality have defeated Discord, defeated Luna, and are now fallen at the hooves or feet, or what do insects have? I don't know, of Queen Chrysalis. And they have now taken over and are trying to round everyone up to siphon their emotions like emotional vampires, really. Now, this one requires a bit more in-depth explanation on how it came to be, because we have to bring into account that Twilight would have been present at the wedding regardless of what condition she would have been in without becoming an element, because the simple fact is that it was her brother who was getting married. But we don't know what events led to the defeat of the guard, Princess Celestia, and Twilight and the elements, but they lost. I mean, that's what we know about all of these realities, is that the elements failed at this hurdle. So yet again, we're being hunted down by a successful villain. But this one's getting a bit more iffy. So it's going towards the realms of there's a lot of bad things have to have happened, and a lot of good ponies had to have missed or not stepped up to the plate in order for these events to have happened. Now, they happened because of the show, but background-wise, it's starting to become somewhat disproportional and unbelievable. But that's my opinion. You may not agree with me. Next in chronological order, which has the most airtime and is, I think, the most well background and done, is the re-rise of the Crystal Empire in King Sombra. Now, King Sombra is without a doubt one of my favorite bad guys. He's awesome. I mean, don't we all love King Sombra? He's just this menacing overlord who dominates his subjects. It's pretty cool. But yet again, the elements have failed to defeat Sombra. The main reason you can easily attribute that defeat is that there was no Spike. Spike saved the Crystal Empire. I mean, despite how much we think his character is about as useful as Flash Sentry in certain occasions, Spike saved the Crystal Empire. And without Twilight gaining that view of Rainbow Dash's Sonic Boom and failing to open Spike's egg, Spike didn't come into existence. He may have come into existence in a different place, but he wasn't in the Crystal Empire at the time in order to save it. So without Spike being there, the Crystal Empire fell to Sombra. Sombra took control, and thus we have that reality where there's a civil war going on between Sombra's minions and the free forces of Equestria. This one's quite plausible, honestly. I mean, because Spike wasn't there, Spike was one of the pivotal individuals who defeated Sombra. There's not much else to say. I mean, this one's actually quite believable. Similar to Luna and Discord, this one's quite believable. But yet again, we still would have had to have had a group of individuals who took place as the elements in order to get to that situation, because we have to overcome all of the previous obstacles I've just discussed in order to even get to where we are now. So the next one, but not the least, is Tarik. Now, Tarik gets, 3 seconds of footage? Like 2-3 seconds? It's minuscule, it's pathetic. But, yet again, the elements failed to defeat Tarik, and he's just wiping out everything because he's pissed. There's not much to this one. It's just, they didn't succeed. Either the element of magic, whoever the element of magic was in this alternative reality, wasn't an alicorn, or they failed, or Tarik just became too powerful, or whatever. But they didn't succeed this time. And Tarik won. This is the outcome of what would happen if Tarik won. And there's not much else to say because there's so little actual canonness to it, because it's such a devoid section. It's like really quick. I mean, they pop in to see Tarik blasting away some trees, and they pop out again. I mean, that's literally it. I mean, you can't really go much on with that, can you? I mean, I don't know. There's not much else I can to say about that. And that leads me to the end one. Now, we all know this end one. It's this desertless, endless, nothing, barren wasteland. And we all are guessing that it is a tribute to Fallout Equestria. That's my guess. Other people may say that it's something else completely different. You'd probably have to ask the actual show creators if it was actually a shout out to Fallout Equestria. We don't know. But from what I can tell from the scene, ignoring what's actually going on in the scene, from just the background, it looks like something similar to Fallout Equestria has occurred, where some great calamity or explosion or magical effect has just laid waste to Equestria. There's nothing left. Now, I can't even answer how this one came about, because it doesn't fit within the canonness of the show. Everyone else within the show, every other bad guy and end scenario, has a few episodes to back it up. There's explanations of how they got to there and this is just an insight of what would occur if they won, which we all understand. But the Fallout Equestria tribute, there is no background reference. There is nothing. For those of you who don't know the lore or the story behind Fallout Equestria, I don't know the beginning story of Fallout Equestria. I don't know how Fallout Equestria came to be. It's a very cool background, and I really honestly should read up more about it. But the simple fact is that we have no answers of how it came about, so we can't do anything about it, really. So, it's the most unplausible to have happened, even though it was actually canonly shown on the show. Not much we can do about that, but it's definitely the most difficult to explain. And that's my opinions on the various bad realities. Now, I do have to mention that despite the fact that we dropped into terrible realities, there would have been good ones. There would have been another group of 6 mighty ponies who took up the mantle of elements and saw it through to the conclusion that we are at the moment, and they defeated all of the obstacles because, good always prevails, especially in this reality. And I had to mention that. But otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. You've been with the Emerald Bolt, and stay tuned. I will continue to have more stuff in the future. I hope to post a collab with a fellow analyst within a couple of weeks. And like, subscribe, tell your friends, come back and watch, and I'll see you next time, guys. Until then, peace.